Penguins 3, Oilers 2. Did Edmonton Oilers find a new way to lose on Wednesday night, or just revisit a few old ones? The Oilers largely matched the Stanley Cup champions stride for stride in a back-and-forth affair, but for the fourth time in 4 meetings between Sidney Crosby's Penguins and Connor McDavid's Oilers, it was the flightless waterfowl who escaped with a 1-goal win. In regulation this time, 3-2, leaving the Oilers nothing to show for what was largely a good effort in an excellent, if ultimately frustrating, hockey game. Unfortunately, it was more of the same in several important ways. For the second straight game, the TSN turning point happened in the dying seconds of a period when a young defenseman got trapped out of the play miles from his own net to allow an odd man rush and a critical goal against. In what seems like a season-long fail, Edmonton special teams let the side down badly, failing to muster a single scoring chance on a pair of third-period power plays, then getting sliced open for the game winner in under 20 seconds, when the inevitable even-up call came. In a game where nothing was decided at even strength, all 36 skaters in the game had an even plus-minus, the special teams were the difference and Edmonton's were second best. Again. As usual, the Oilers outshot and outchanced, log and summary, the other guys, but also as usual the opposing netminder was one of the game's stars as Edmonton's almighty struggle to produce meaningful offense continues unabated. Matt Murray couldn't stop a beach ball in Winnipeg Sunday, but has shut the Oilers down twice in a week with outstanding performances. Edmonton received scoring contributions from the usual suspects, McDavid 2 points, RNH, Maroon, Draisaitl 1 each. And exactly butkus from the rest of the gang, aka the usual suspects, uppercase edition. And for the 6th straight game the Oilers found themselves tied after 2 periods. They have harvested just 5 points from those situations, rather than the expected 8 or so, when one takes the NHL's cockamamie point system into account. They can hardly expect better, having been outscored by a combined 7-3 in those 6 third periods. This failure when the game is on the line is bleeding costly points. At the moment the locals find themselves languishing in 30th place overall, and the hypothetical climb back into contention gets steeper by the day. Good effort, sure, but the time for moral victories has long since passed, especially on home ice, where the Oilers' record has sunk to 2-5-0. Player grades. Number 4 Chris Russell, 6. Found himself back on the right side with Ovid and turned in a solid, low-event night. During his 11 even-strength minutes the Oilers outshot the Pens 6-2, with Russell himself blocking 4 shots. He also contributed a minute-long shift and a dandy during the Oilers' long 3v5 penalty kill in the second period. Made a couple of heady plays to keep the puck in at the offensive blue line. Number 6 Adam Larsson, 4. Was drilled by Sidney Crosby in the opening seconds, and his night got tougher from there. Was mostly solid, but was unable to cut out a pair of critical passes in odd-man situations, one from Crosby to Sheary on the game-tying goal, the other from Kessel to Malkin on the game-winner. Those are ace passers, of course, but with all the practice Larsson gets as the last man back one might expect him to cut out the occasional killer pass with a killer defensive stop. Led the defense corps with 3 shots, 2 hits, and 30 shifts, seeing a bellyful of Crosby in the process. Number 18 Ryan Strome, 4. A couple of shots and decent flow of play metrics, but this was yet another game Oilers desperately needed a morsel of offense from the bottom 6, and got the usual nothing. A crummy 2/11 equals 18% on the dot. Number 19 Patrick Maroon, 5. Not his most graceful performance, highlighted by an epic toe pick that sent the big man crashing to the ice all on his own. Did make a nice centering pass to RNH for the 1-1 tally, and teed up Nurse's bomb off the post. Came within an ace of tying it in the last minute with Talbot on the bench, only to be flat-out robbed by Murray's outstretched pad. Number 25 Darnell Nurse, 5. This is a tough one. He did a lot right in his first game on the shutdown pairing with Larsson, including some strong defensive stands, some nice contributions offensively, and an absolute bomb that rang the iron like a bell. But two major mistakes spoiled his night: the slashing penalty that put the Oilers down 2 men for 142, his teammates had his back that time, and his major positional error that was a key component in that killer-tying goal in the dying seconds of the middle frame. At other times jumping into the rush might not be a bad idea, but in this situation it sure was. In large part because of the guy he left in the rear view on his way up ice, Crosby, who made Nurse and the Oilers pay an immediate heavy price when the play went the other way. And instead of taking a lead into the second intermission for the first time since, October 4, the game took on a new, darker tone. Call it an error of enthusiasm, but to this observer it was also an error of judgment.